Okay, here I go again. Here I go again. Is it right? Okay, audiovisual specialist. I worked as an audiovisual guy almost all my life. I loved it. I started, I was fascinated by the film projector in elementary school. I used to love when they brought the film projector in and we saw all these movies. In Los Angeles, they had. The public schools had very good films to show students, all kinds of nice science films, a lot of very good science films. And of course, Disney would have some Disney cartoon type things, but there was Disney science things too. But just regular science stuff, really nice stuff on film. And they bring the projector in, and the teacher would, I think, thread the projector. But I was always fascinated with the projector. So when I went to middle school at Virgil, again, we would see films and stuff, and still fascinated with the film projector. And I became friends with the audiovisual guys. There were other students just like me. So um, I would go to the audiovisual room. There was a paper on the wall, and it said which film was going to which classroom at what time. I would go there and tell the guys, "Well, I'll do it." And these lazy guys, yeah, go ahead and do it. So I would take the projector. I learned how to put the film through and all that stuff. And I'd go to classes and show the film. And I wasn't supposed to do that because I didn't work for the audiovisual. I wasn't a student, employee or whatever it was. So I did that a bunch in middle school at Virgil in California. It's junior high. Then when I went to high school, I didn't do that. I don't know why I didn't do that. But I was working. Then after I graduated from high school, I was working as a noon aide at Rosemont. I don't know how I got that job. I think the lady that lived in the apartments there in Coronado Terrace told me, and I went, and it was like a noon supervisor, and basically you get abused by little kids. And I don't know how much I got paid. It was not that much. And then I finally got fed up with that, and I the principal of the school at the time told me that there was a job at LACC, Los Angeles City College, in the audiovisual department. I went over there, and yeah, there was a job, and I got the job. And I worked there for 15 years on and off. I went to classes at Los Angeles City College. I was always taking classes. I took all kinds of different classes. In fact, I took they had built a new communications department, a new building, because it was old, where the photography was and the radio. Um, it was like disc jockey radio technology and video and film. They all were combined in one brand new building. So I was there at the time. I went and took the first classes in the video department when they opened. That was great. I learned how to do video stuff, do the cameras and all that kind of stuff. And was still working in audiovisual. So then, what was it? Okay, so then I got married with Gloria. We went to Florida here in Miami, and since I had audiovisual experience, I got jobs in hotels, audiovisual companies that had these contracts in different hotels in Miami, mostly on the beach and some inland. And I did that for a few years. That was hard work sometimes. Um, really didn't like that, but it was money, and I did that. Okay, then I wanted a more steady job in one location, so for some reason I looked in the paper and I saw that there was an audiovisual technician or whatever for Florida International University, which is in Miami. So I applied and I got the job and I worked there for 8 years. Um, the bad part about it, I wasn't like the permanent employee that got benefits and stuff. I could have gotten 8 years more state benefits if I was one of those kind of um, employees, but I wasn't. Okay, I worked there for 8 years. Then I moved to Deerfield and was commuting between Deerfield and Miami. That was too far to go. So I applied for a job at the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach, the famous Breakers Hotel. You know, movie stars and rich people all go to the Breakers Hotel. So I worked there during 9/11. I remember one of the executives, sales department or whatever it was, asked for a TV. So I took the TV up to the office, plugged it all in, and seeing planes hitting those buildings, the Twin Towers. I don't think I saw it when it actually happened. I saw the video of it, and I was like crazy. So, okay, business went all down, but we still kept our jobs. But that was a hard job. During the season, they always call it the season, from around Halloween all the way to New Year's. If you wanted to, you could work every day. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, all week, never have a day off. And if you did that, they loved it. You know, they'd kill you. They would kill you. One time I worked 14 days straight, and on the 15th day, I got dressed, you know, took a shower, got dressed, went to the door, touched the handle of the door to go out, and I said to myself, I can't do this. I called them up and said, I can't come in. I'm too tired. I've been working straight all these days, so I didn't. That was really hard work. We used to have to carry big, heavy equipment across that hotel and set things up. Those huge screens, what was it, 9 by 12 screens on those big aluminum frames, and the screens itself, there were rear projection and front. They had snaps on it. There was big fabric you had to pull out and snap it all in, and the last snaps were always like real hard because that thing had to be tight. So I worked there for, I think, 2 or 3 years. So then I wanted to get out of there. I was looking for a job, anything. But I saw an audiovisual job in Jupiter. So at Florida Atlantic University. So I applied there, and the lady, Joanne Julia, said, well, we already have somebody for this position, but hold on, we're opening a new campus north in Port St. Lucie. And just hold on. Once that campus is all ready to go, you can apply for that job. So I waited. It wasn't happening. I was still at that Breakers Hotel. Oh, God, impatient as heck. I would email Joanne a bunch. She said, hold on, not yet. Hold on, not yet. I was pestering her, okay? So then finally she gave me a call and said, okay, come and apply. I applied. I think I sent like 3 applications in, like, through the computer, like faxed them in with my resume and everything. Finally, I called up and wanted to make sure that they had all the stuff, and they said, yeah, we have 3 or 4 of your stuff. We're going to throw everything away and just keep one. So it came true. I got the position as audiovisual specialist at Florida Atlantic University. It was called the Treasure Coast campus. And I worked there until the economy went down in 2008. And the main campus in Boca Raton got freaked out and thought that they needed to close our campus in Port St. Lucie, which was heartbreaking because I worked there for 8 years, I think it was. And I worked with Susan, and we were in the computer department. And one great thing about it was that they were doing video conferencing from when I started. And the video conferencing got more because they wanted to install more and more equipment in more rooms. In fact, they built a new building, multi-purpose building, and there was like maybe 1, 2 classrooms, And then upstairs there was 2 portable units. Well, I learned how to put all that equipment together, not the classroom stuff, because it was like elaborate with microphones and all kinds of cameras. But the portable units, I knew how to put that all together, program it, put all of the IP addresses in there, and make that stuff work. So, and I got promoted to be audiovisual video conference specialist while I was there, which was great because they created this position, and for the first time, I was told, well, that position was made for me, and other people applied, but I got it, and that was great. More money, more responsibility, and I loved it. I knew how to do everything. So then the economy went bad. Boca Raton said, we're going to close your campus. We were all freaked out. Instructors that were working there were told when they came that that was a long-term commitment. Those instructors were pissed. Most of them came from other states and had bought houses nearby in the community. And when they said they were closing that campus, people were like upset like heck. A lot of people like sold their homes and went back to where they came from. So, me and Susan and everybody, we had these meetings and stuff, what we were going to do and everything. We had, grief counselors because you're losing your job, just in case someone was going to commit suicide, which somebody may have, but that never happened. So then it came to pass that Joanne had these, at the Jupiter campus, the Lifelong Learning Society, which I came to call them the Lifelong Jewish Society. It was a separate department in the university for retired older folks to come and just listen to lectures. There was no grades, there was no homework. You just paid and you came and you paid for the different classes. There was all kinds of stuff. There was everything from this guy that was talking about law and different issues that were happening in the news and how they affected different laws and people getting sued and all that stuff. There was Benito had his movie class, which I loved, and I worked with Benito a lot. Benito Rockhauer. He was born in Mexico. His parents were from Europe. And some art classes and all kinds of different classes and stuff. And I worked with everybody there. In fact, I made videos promoting the classes that they put on these big screens in the lobby of the auditorium. Excellent videos that are still on my page on YouTube. Excellent. When I left there, they had somebody else start doing videos. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I had perfect videos. All right, I think I worked there 3 years. It was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. A bunch of old women that would get something in their head that they wanted me to do, but never told me about it. Never mentioned that, Emilio, we want you to do this or that. Never told me. But in their heads, I was supposed to do it. But since I didn't know about it, I never did it. So I was in trouble. One day I got yelled at bad by the director for something I had nothing to do with at all. That day I went on the computer, found that on the same campus was Scripps Research Institute, which is like across the lake on the same campus. It was just like you drive to 2 more parking lots and that Scripps building was there. And Scripps came from San Diego, and they, the university, Florida Atlantic University, gave them for free the land. And then the state of Florida built the building because they wanted research and medical kind of research to come. So they did. They got the land for free. The state of Florida built them the building, and I got the job there. They did research on AIDS and diabetes and cancer and stuff like that. That was a horrible job too. All these professors, a lot of them were older. When they were young, they were all gung-ho, thinking, I'm going to find the cure for cancer and diabetes and all this stuff. Well, years and years went by, they never found anything, okay? So now they're bitter, and they take it out on everyone. And me, I was in those classrooms all the time, so they would yell at me for stuff that I had nothing to do with, but that's the nature of the job. Another thing, the equipment was always breaking. The installation company that they had for scripts was horrible, horrible, horrible. Cheap, cheap, cheap connections and equipment and everything. I was dying. So there, I was just sick of it. And one day, one of the guys, one of these big jackass that worked in the IT department, came in saying some shit to me, and I didn't say anything back to him. And that day, I decided I had enough of this stuff. I wrote an email to the boss saying, it's time for me to retire, so find somebody else. So, I gave him like 3 months. They didn't find anybody till like the last week when I was leaving. And then the guy came on the last, like 2 days before I was going, he came. I gave him a crash course on everything. And that was the first day he was there. The second day I told him he was on his own. And that was it. And I left and I retired. I love doing audiovisual, but the last few years of doing it was like horrible. Like I said, I was fascinated with the film projector. And this whole room is my audiovisual room. Okay.